Hi everyone, welcome to another Warhammer 3 faction overview, where today we're going to be looking at the vampire counts. In this video we're pretty much going to look at how they play, how they do on the campaign side, as well as look at each of the individual vampire campaigns themselves and their mechanics. Kind of just like a quick overview of the vampire counts. Generally they are a mass swarm army. Early in the game they could be spawning lots of cheap units, lots of cheap armies, I should say. It depends how well they do in the beginning. They could kind of spiral out of control. Kind of note that they haven't gotten some love since like mid-game Warhammer 2, I believe. So a lot of their like lords and heroes haven't been really touched up at all, or their campaign mechanics. But it is what it is, I suppose. Now I kind of have here is just kind of I would say an early to mid game army. You could probably rock this army a little longer. Just kind of put that out there. This is a hyper aggressive faction, so it's not necessarily like a defensive faction like the dwarves, or like more of a balanced jack of all trades faction like the Empire. Early tiers are pretty much going to have lots of kind of trash troops up until crypt ghouls or your grave guards. Really, they got fairly decent cav, pretty good monsters and beasts. They don't have artillery, it's just a bunch of corpse cards, which generally will use 1-2 in my army. That's also a faction I will kind of spam the heroes as well, because the heroes for them are really good. Even though they haven't been touched up in Warhammer 3, they still get the job done pretty much. And I just kind of made like a kind of normal Empire army. You'll generally be facing like lots of swordsmen, lots of spearmen with crossbowmen mixed with handgunners. They like to use their Empire Knights, and I just threw 2 artillery pieces. Empire will also like to spam heroes as well, although it's not too often, but when they do, it's kind of horrifying. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the battle here. Oop. So pretty much, as I mentioned earlier, the vampire counts are a hyper-aggressive faction. You pretty much want to charge enemy to battle. The only time you really don't, if the enemy is spamming artillery or lots of large entities like the Bretonnians, then you kind of want to hide in the trees and bait them into you. Sometimes that doesn't happen. In this case, the Empire should be defending. I have them set to defend. But I kind of like to bring, at least 2 or 3 zombies, at least mid-game, early to mid-game. This isn't late game army. And then go with skeletal spearmen or skeletal swordsmen. It really doesn't matter. I'm going with spearmen because they have a higher melee defense, as well as a bonus versus large, because there's only really 2 infantry units in their roster currently that's bonus versus large on foot, and that's halberds, and so kind of could be stuck with kind of crappy spearmen for a while, unless you get a good Pyrrhic battle that can summon them. Because put these behind the zombies here, and then I like to get crypt horrors. They're my personal favorite. They do a really good job. They got the poison attacks and armor piercing and regeneration. I like kind of put them in the line of the spearmen, so when they start shooting, the spearmen can absorb some of that, since they do have some form of a shield. It'll help. And I kind of like to put the elite troops in the far back. I just went with 1 of each grave guard. Generally we would get 1 or 2 kind of off the bat, depending on how well your battles go. Then I'm rocking 2 black knights on the wings here. You don't have to do. I do like having 2 flyers. I prefer bats over the Fargeists, because they're much better of an economic choice. And they're a lot faster and a little bit smaller of a target. And if you're using a corpse cart, I'm using a corpse cart with a lodestone, because you get replenishing, as well as melee attack, melee defense at bigger per second, and personal regeneration on him. I kind of like him to put him in between the lines, because corpse carts will generally get targeted either by lords, heroes, or the heavy hitting like ranged troops. Put my vampire lord next to him. as well as my Necromancer. I like to run Vampire Lord with Necromancers generally. I do like the White Knight. He's also on horseback. They're all on horseback. You really don't want anybody not mounted, except maybe Vampire Lord or White Cane. They're okay if they're not on a mount, but they're much better. I generally like to put my White Knights with my calves to kind of help win the calf battles a little faster. And it's kind of like my standard three-line formation. Trash, less trash, good. Another thing to keep in mind is everybody's kind of slow except for the Crypt Horrors. And since they are a large target, they're kind of at a disadvantage, especially against the Empire, because they just happen to have Spearmen in this army. And this isn't a campaign battle, this is just like a quick battle, so there's no campaign buffs or anything. Go ahead and start it. And the first thing I'm going to do is get these bats behind him as fast as possible and start moving my cav. Because what the AI will do is they'll start kind of doing a death spiral if you do it fast enough. And plus they're going to be wasting their Hellstorm rocket battery in the bats, which I think is great. So we're going to move these guys forward here. I will slow these guys down since they are so much faster than everybody. I don't know why they deployed the way they did. That's kind of weird. Like I said, I kind of just want them to start moving around their formations so they're not really focused on my army. Let's slow these two down a little bit. The army just moves so slow. That's the kind of big disadvantage with the vampire accounts. They are really slow moving army. So if you're Empire, bring your range. If you're vampire accounts, just try to rush them at all sides if you can help it. The AIs have gotten a little better where they will actually kind of try to protect their artillery pieces. Emphasis on try. It doesn't really matter if the Empire Knights get behind us because we can kind of punish them either way. We can go ahead and move our bats behind now. I really want his cav to engage with my cav because his cav sucks and I can win that fight. And when I do eventually win that fight, I will have free movement around. We're just going to go ahead and just do a massive attack order on everybody. Start throwing our Crypt Horrors in gaps here. That hurts. Just a little bit though. Yeah, see, they're focusing on my Grave Guards because they see that as the bigger threat. But let's start going after the artillery pieces. And they're in their cav now. Like I said, I kind of want to take them out of the fight as fast as I can here. Get our Corpse Cart in position as well. Get our Necromancer in position because we're going to be trying to kill these guys as fast as possible because their range will focus on the Crypt Horrors. Which that's fine because we got two healers that can kind of help that. Okay, his cav is engaging with my cav. That's fine. I'm actually going to pull the White Knight off just so he can kind of do some more background fighting. And we could kind of throw the Vampire Lord in the melee fight. He really enjoys fighting in melee. Pop some of our default abilities here. And Vampire Lords, sorry, will also have regenerations as well, so the double regen is definitely nice to have. We'll go ahead and send a Grave Guard over there. Just kind of keep this guy in the reserve. He's still stuck. That's fine. Go after handgunners, go after crossbows. Just disable their range as fast as possible. That's our biggest threat right now. Pretty much everybody can tank it here and be fine. I mean, you notice our Crypt Horrors are actually taking some damage, but they really haven't lost any entities. Which is perfect for us because they have constant regeneration, so we could pull them out and let them duke it out a little bit longer. There's really no reason to. Since they have support of the zombies and whatnot and skeletons. We're going to actually charge forward here because they're trying to go after our Necromancer. And since we got our White King here to keeping their range busy, just go help that Cav. Do we have the range for that? I think we... Hold on. Oops. Well, we didn't really need to use that, but that's fine. Pop that over there. We pretty much destroyed their back lines with just the 2 bats. This is why I say the bats are really good, because they can just decimate the back lines. Very little casualties as long as they're keeping everybody busy. Okay, we won that kind of fight over there. Let's start doing some hammer and anviling. Maybe try to bring our necromancer over there to help. Let's bring them back up. Still got some cav control over there. And that's fine, they came back. They're not going to be able to really do much at this point. We pretty much won the melee brawl. We'll go ahead and try to get a heal off those cav. I can help it. And our big thing with the vampire counts is they'll generally have low morale, so it's always good to have a corpse cart somewhere, lords and heroes kind of spread throughout your battle, so to say, so like nobody will rout or break, because once the vampires rout or break, they'll just disintegrate, and there's really no way for them to recover unless you kind of have somebody nearby. Who else is left? Oh, we still got some cav over there. But we don't want them to fight over there. Let me select you, please. Yeah, see what I mean? Those bats started almost crumbling immediately on us. And we took fairly low casualties. We only lost, what, 4 crypt horrors there. About half a unit of bats, a little bit more. This zombie took no damage for some odd reason. Huh. No, he just wasn't in the fight. But yeah, pretty much our main damage was the crypt horrors, the bats, and the cav. I really didn't engage with these guys because these guys are kind of my more elite troops. I'll put them in the fight, but that's just me personally. And then you can kind of see here what happened. We shut down the Hellstorm rocket battery pretty early. We shut down the mortars pretty early. That would have been a big threat to us. I don't know why they were turned sideways. That's kind of weird. Maybe it's the map. I have no idea. Kind of weird they weren't facing me. But yep, you see the bats here. 100 kills, 61 kills here, 50, 35, 148. Knights did really good here, and the Graveguard great weapons, pretty good. Now onto the campaign overviews. We're going to start off with everybody's favorite character, both in-game and lore-wise, Mannfred Von Carstein. That's sarcasm, by the way. I hate his guts. But kind of quick overview of Mannfred. He's a vampire lord that likes do a little bit more magic stuff. Just like that skill line. You got vampire magic as well as spirit leech stuffs, and standard yellow tree, standard red tree, standard blue. So pretty much his start location, he starts in the Thunderdome of the desert. His first enemies are kind of going to be the Tomb Kings, and depending how fast Tomb Kings grow, they're pretty much going to be your main threat for most of the campaign. You do have some wood elves here, and he might declare war on you. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's kind of weird. You do have the dwarves over here, which will kind of declare war on you if they eliminate all their main enemies over here. Really not a threat, strangely enough, even with the -40 version. Lots of minor factions here. You also do have Empire here as well. Kind of can be a threat to you as well. And then you have Khorne. somewhere over here. Core hates everybody, so you're gonna eventually fight. But pretty much your main threat will be Tomb King for a while. You do got some lizardmen over here. You don't really have to worry about them for a good while. I would say he kind of has a tougher campaign because he has a lot of potential enemies, but they're not like guaranteed to declare war. So you know, if you move too far down, you know, Thorgrim might decide to attack you in the back, or Korn might think you're a friend one turn, next turn he declares war on you because he thinks it's fun. Just kind of one of my least favorite vampire campaigns. It's probably just because I hate the character. His unique mechanic is the books and the gash, and that's kind of his whole campaign shtick. So there's 8 books, and each book gives different buffs. And they also double their effect if he takes Castle Drakenhof, which is kind of hard for him to do because he spawns so far away. And if Vlad's not gone, you're going to have a very good empire. Very strong empire over there, I should say. It's just, I kind of wish his books were a little stronger. It's a Warhammer 2 thing they added. Or Warhammer 2? Yeah, Warhammer 2. Because Warhammer 1 he spawned in Sylvania. So it's just, I just wish the books were stronger. I mean, some of them are okay, some of them not so much. Kind of keep that in mind. And look at his victory conditions. You know, he has to take out Tomb Kings, Cult of Sigmar, and Chevaliers the Lioness, whatever. Which she's usually gone pretty early. Most of the time, our Tomb King faction will wipe her out, as well as maintain Land of the Dead, which is right here. Pretty easy to get. And then he does have access to the Bloodline mechanic, and all the vampire accounts do. So we got Strigoi, which kind of buffs the ghouls here for each tier. I'll just kind of over them kind of slowly. You do get legendary heroes each time you recruit them, so like you can get up to 3 of the vampire Strigoi or vampire ghoul kings or whatever they're called in the game. Yeah, you can get 3 Von Carsteins, 3 Blood Dragons, Lamines, Necrarch, whatever. Hover over what you get for each one. They do increase with each upgrade, so keep that in mind. They don't stay at 3, sadly. Blood Knights is generally my favorite because it boosts up the cav. I would say Laminan's kind of the weakest in my opinion. She doesn't really do enough. And Neckarch is kind of okay. You know, the Winds of Magic is nice and upkeep's nice. I usually would go for like Von Carstein and Blood Dragon and maybe the Strigoi. 1 or 2 levels of Strigoi. Generally. In order to get Blood Kisses, you can assassinate characters, kill factions leader in battle, fascialize other factions, and then there's some, I believe, quick events. Excuse me. Quick events, you can get them. They're kind of hard to get early on, but like about mid-game, you can just kind of start rolling these in. But the problem is, like, once you unlock all the Blood Kisses, which it does take a while, there's kind of no point in this. I really wish you could like spend this resource on other things. That'd be kind of cool. Another unique mechanic for the vampires is they have Raise the Dead, and it's kind of like Warriors of Chaos, where there will be like a set amount of units you can recruit. It will depend on what level of corruption you have, as well as if there was any other major battles fought nearby. Pretty much, you want to inflict the maximum amount of casualties on your side and their side, because if you get Pyrrhic victories, you can get like Grave Guards, Blood Knights available, Terrorgeists available. So if you play your cards right, you can get like a Terrorgeist like by turn 10. They also do have a mechanic called the Dead Rise Again, so pretty much there's a chance for destroyed units coming back after a battle. That increases with the vampiric corruption, as well as some tech trees or character abilities as well. Kind of like the Demons of Chaos right now. Demons of Chaos have that mechanic called Demons Reforged. Basically the same exact thing. So pretty much you kind of want to take high casualties, inflict high casualties, and you'll be golden early game. And then his unique equipment, he gets the Sword of Unholy Power, which is a quest belt unlocked at rank 7. Income for post-battle loot 10%, Vampiric Corruption +5 for the local province, recruitment cost -10% for his army, melee attack 6, enables magical attacks, weapon strength +10, and passive ability for Sword of Unholy Power, which is power recharge and reserves per second when in melee. Kinda can get unlimited wins of magic, takes some time to tick, without doing cheesy things. He also gets the Armor of Tempelhof, which is another quest battle issued at rank 12. +10 armor, +10% ward save, enemy hero action success chance, -10%. Wound recovery time -1 turn, melee defense +6, physical resistance +10, and ability regenerating flesh, which only has 1 use. So trying to get another heal on top of that. He also does get a spell mastery +60% stuff as well. And then that's his trait. Upkeep -25% for Graveguard Black Knight units for his army. And Winds of Magic Power Reserve +15. So pretty much you kind of want to build Knights and Graveguards for him, even though it's not really necessary. I mean, those are their premier units. Now on to Heinrich Kemmler's campaign. I actually really enjoy his campaign, first off, but his first enemies are going to be Bretonnians, Minor Door faction, and Empire, pretty much. Greenskins might get spicy a little bit. Generally speaking, you're going to have issues with the Bretonnians because they're not going to really like you too much. And if Empire's not too busy, they're going to go after you too. So it could be potentially a difficult campaign, but it's not too bad. I have a pretty good defensive capital settlement here. Minor Door faction, that's never really a threat. So pretty much if you're playing this campaign, maybe build towards anti-large if you can help it. It's sad to say he doesn't have a unique faction mechanic. More than likely they just forgot about him. He does have access to the bloodlines, of course, and he plays the exact same as the other vampires with the Raise Dead ability. His victory mechanics or conditions are destroy the tree huggers here, maintain control of Bastion, force the Chalons, and Carcassonne, as well, sack 30 summons. Kind of weird victory conditions since you pretty much could be fighting a lot of Bretonnians and Empire. I think they should change this up. You really won't encounter the Wood Elves unless you want to push that way. It's just kind of weird. For his legendary items, he does get Chaos Tomb Blade, which is a quest battle that will unlock a level rank 7 for him. Cash replenishment rate +3, melee attack +6, enables magical attacks, weapon strength +10, and passive ability Chaos Tomb Blade, which is a heal per second and +5 melee attack that affects everybody in range. Extremely good. Very good, actually. Doesn't tell me what the cooldown is, though. Oh no, it's the passive ability. There is no cooldown. It's just actively happening. So yeah. Cloak of Mist and Shadows. Quest battle will be issued at rank 12. Enemy hero action success chance -10%. Ambush success chance +15 for his army. Speed +10%. Melee defense +5. Physical resistance +10. And ability Cloak of Mist and Shadows, which will give him magical attacks as well as physical resistance +75%. So potential 85% when you have that buffed without any other items. The Skull Staff, which is a quest battle that will be issued at 17. Vampiric Corruption +5 for the local province. Item Magic drop chance. Magic item drop chance 10%. Melee attack +5, spell resistance 20%. Winds of Magic Cause -2 for Van Hell's Dance Maccabee, as well as the upgrade version, and miscast base chance -15%. He does summon Krell as well. Krell is, I guess, maybe his unique faction mechanic, if you want to call it. Pretty much a like undead chaos warrior that's really strong and really scary at any stage of the game. I would say he can almost like 1v1 a lot of legendary lords off the bat, pretty much. He does not degrade, and he gets upgraded through the skill line. He does get an item, Horrible Generation. Oh, no, actually, sorry. There you go, Ravenous Dead, which will basically give his zombies regeneration while in combat. And then his trades, he has Wanderer, which enables replenishment in foreign territory, Winds of Magic Cause -10% for Lord of Vampires, and Lord of Undead. Overall, it's not a bad campaign. They kind of should touch it up. He doesn't really have anything unique about him besides Krell. I mean, if that's enough for you, hey, you get to beat up some French horsies too. That's also kind of fun. Now on to Vlad the Chad's campaign. By far one of my favorite campaigns. It's not too difficult of one. It kind of could go south pretty fast depending on how the dwarves feel about you. I had mixed results with them. Once again, doesn't really have any unique campaign effects, sadly. Still has access to bloodlines, of course. He is like your main vampire campaign, pretty much. Generally speaking. He does start off with Isabella Von Carstein, who is a legendary hero. Very strong to have. They do build off each other, so you kind of always want to keep them like in your army, with Vlad anyways. If you do play Isabella though, you will get Vlad as the legendary hero, and I will generally say you want Vlad as the Lord. Vlad is just a better Lord than Isabella is. Isabella's a decent hero. Like, maybe that's his unique faction mechanic. Kind of weak in my opinion. She does start off with the Blood Chalice of Bathory, which is Ward Save +5, enemy hero action success chance -10%, casualty replenishment rate +5% for all units in the army, wound recovery time -1 for all characters, and Blood Chalice is that affects Lord or a hero unit. I'm kind of just gonna go over her really quick because she's tied to Vlad pretty much. But for like your main enemies, you kind of start off the Empire. Weirdly enough, your dwarves won't be your main enemy. Some campaigns they will kind of declare war on you outright. A lot of times they really don't though. Even though they really don't like you, they kind of don't mess with you because they got their own enemies. If they kill their own starting enemies too fast, then they might go after you. But you got lots of Empire. You do have Nurgle, or Warriors of Chaos Nurgle. Really won't mess with you. You do have a Wood Elf somewhere in this region that will mess with you. Won't expand, will just fight you. But your main enemy for this campaign would pretty much be Empire. With potential slice of dwarves. Not too bad. You're not necessarily surrounded by all enemies, as weird as that sounds. Like I said, dwarves kind of take their time wanting to fight you. So it's not like a high stakes campaign, so to say. For his victory conditions, they're actually pretty easy. Have control of northern Sylvania, have control of southern Sylvania. Control Altdorf, which if you start bullying the Empire fast enough, they're really not a threat. And then Razor Sack 30 different settlements, which you could probably get pretty close to by the time you get to Altdorf. He has a fairly fast campaign if you want to focus and bully the Empire. For his items, he gets Blood Drinker, which will be a quest battle given to him at rank 7, which is income from post-battle loot at 10%. Vampire Corruption +5 for local province. Recruitment cost -10% for his own army. Melee attack +5. Enables magical attacks. Weapon strength +10%. Passive ability, Blood Drinker, which is a heal per second. should be in combat actually. I believe Blood Drinker actually is combat, unless they just kind of tweaked that in their last little touch up. He also does get our regeneration hunger. So he has kind of lots of healing. He will have the Von Carstein ring, which is another quest battle which will be issued at rank 12. Enemy hero success chance minus 10%. Wound recovery time minus 3 turns. So pretty much when you kill him, he'll be back in like 8 turns. It's kind of annoying. Nothing you can do about it. It's also lore accurate. Physical resistance plus 15%, and the Carstein ring, which is damage resistance plus 60%. He got nerfed slightly into the ground. Not really. He's still scary in the battlefield. I believe the physical resistance actually used to be just ward save. So like he would pop this ability, it'd almost be maxed out ward save if you built him a certain way. Horrifying. He just kind of point out he doesn't get a mount, so he is kind of slow, but that's perfectly fine. He does have an ability called a Master of Engulfment, which is made attack minus 40 for 1 enemy, as well as Aura of Dark Grandeur, which is leadership minus 4 that affects everybody within range. Spell mastery 100%. And a consuming threat, battle healing cap plus 50% when an army with Isabella Von Carstein. All units in Vlad's army will receive Vanguard Deploy, which is horrifying. Like I said, the vampire armies are kind of slow moving, so now you get an army that pretty much spawns on top of you or your opponent, depending who you're fighting. You need me. And then Isabella also would get Massive Engulfment with Dark Retinue, which is battle healing cap plus 50% when an army with Vlad Von Carstein, melee attack plus 10 for embedded vampire heroes for a Dawn army, and my defense plus 10 for all embedded vampire heroes. Also gets word save 5. Yeah, like I said, this campaign isn't really difficult because you got one really strong legendary hero, Lord, and a pretty decent legendary hero. Just once again, no unique faction mechanics, which kind of sucks. It is what it is. Please give Vampire Count some love. Now onto Helman Ghorst, which is kind of another really fun campaign. He likes his he likes his zombies, as you can see, and he also likes his skelly boys. But he can buff the living hell out of these guys. It's just a silly campaign, really fun to play. Your first enemies will pretty much be a minor Skaven faction. Most of the time, the ogres will declare war on you, which they could be a pretty big threat. Now that you got Graveguard with Hellbeard, it's probably not as big as a threat as before, because Skeletal Spearmen just couldn't fight the ogres off. You do get some Lizardmen here. Most of the time they're gone, if not almost gone. Nurgle will be your main enemy as well. Got some more ogres over here. Cathay is actually kind of friendly with you. It's kind of weird. They don't, at least they never declared war against me for some odd reason. They'll trade with me. They like my monies. You have high elves over here with some chaos dwarves that you do expand upward. Generally, they won't really mess with you though. Doesn't really have a lot of enemies, and the enemies he does have, he can fight against pretty well besides the ogre kingdoms, but with that new unit, might be a lot easier now. Once again, no unique faction mechanics. Sadly, he does have access to bloodlines as per usual. His victory conditions are destroy Pox Makers of Nurgle, which is the main enemy. Take Nagash Izar, which is a Skaven stronghold to say the least, and Razor Sack 30 different settlements, which is might take you a little bit of time because there's really not a lot of settlements between here and here. This will just take forever to take because it's like a super stronghold. This could also be a grindy fight too, because now you're throwing tanky enemies against tanky zombies, so it could take you a lot longer than you would think to take out Nurgle nowadays.
Dark magic is mine to command.
He does get the Liber Noctis, whatever. Quest battle will be issued for him at rank 7. Vampire Corruption +5 for local province. Hero Recruit Rank +5 for Necromancers for all provinces. Magic item drop chance +10%. Winds of Magic -4 for Winds of Death. And ability, which is pretty much a power recharge that will hurt you as well. I don't really like to use it, so it's because it causes damage to yourself. It does start off on a corpse cart, which, better or worse, it depends on your viewpoint. It is a really strong corpse cart. He does get Neophyte, which is immune to plague attrition for his army, immune to contact effects for his lord's army, and armor +3 for zombies and tools for his well. And kind of looking at his skill tree here really quickly, I know we touched up on his skill tree already in the Vampire Heroes video. Just saying, like, this right here really juices up his zombies. Pretty much how you want to play him is just spam armies of zombies. It is really silly, and it's kind of fun to watch, like Grimgor Ironhide kill 4 armies of zombies and then finally lose because you just happen to have Helman Ghorst at like full health, and Grimgor just doesn't have anything after that. This is kind of a meme campaign. It's fun to play occasionally. I like to visit it a lot. Just the kind of problem is he just juices up the not the worst unit in the roster, but probably the weakest in terms of performance, I suppose. It's a good meat shield. It's a really good meat shield. That's why he's kind of ranked so high. But yep, fairly easy campaign. Just kind of, once again, there's no unique mechanics, sadly, unless you want to count the super juicing zombies. And there you have it. That's the quick how to play vampire accounts and vampire campaign overview. Like, that's pretty much the main problem with the vampire accounts. They haven't gotten any love since Warhammer 3, and they're kind of falling behind out of it. As you guys just watched the video, the only one that has a unique faction mechanic is Mannfred. I'm kind of annoyed about that. Hopefully they like touch up the campaigns when, like, you know, Gash makes a return, right? But kind of just doing our summary here of the vampire accounts are a hyper aggressive faction, likes to make lots of cheap armies, pain to kill, obnoxious, scary, zombies, skelly boys. Do I have to say anything else? They're pretty much hard counters are mass range and mass artillery. So if you find dwarves or empire, kind of be weary of that. If you have to camp in the trees to stay alive, go ahead and do that. Generally, they like being in melee brawls. They'll win every time because they don't really rout or break if heroes and lords are nearby. If the lord gets sniped early, though, it's pretty much game over because most of the time, a lot of your cheaper units will just crumble immediately. If they're losing a fight or damaged and the lord dies, their leadership is pretty much gone. So just kind of keep that in mind. Protect your lord. He'll protect you. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for notification when I go live, upload a video, or do any other shenanigans on YouTube. And please hit that bell to actually get notified of said shenanigans on YouTube. It's punishing me. I've been a bad boy. But of course, if you have any suggestions of how you play the Empire, how you play the Empire, how you play the vampire accounts, or what your army builds look like, you know,